Hello, everybody. How you all doing? I don't know why that is so small like that. Right, here we go. Here we go. Hey, everybody. How you all doing? Hope you're doing great. So, I've just been watching the video by, is it DJ Media? DJ Media on AY audits and that sort of thing. Very interesting. Very interesting. Don't really have an opinion on it on either side. They've obviously got a beef with each other. So yeah, very interesting. Go and watch it. It's very interesting. So look at the chat. So reason I'm late is I apologise for being late. I lost track of time, to be honest with you. I was doing something. Sorry about that. Yep, you got it. that was part of it. I was waiting for it to boot up. God, it just gets longer every time. It's like I have to boot the laptop up probably an hour and a half in advance so it's ready for when I live stream. Luckily, that's going to change because next week we've got the new streaming laptop coming, which is going to be a lot better. It's going to make these live streams a lot more interactive. We're going to have videos and all kinds of stuff on. If I tried to play a video in this live stream, it would just lag. It would literally just lag. Right. So it's obviously it's a bit of an off the cuff live stream. I didn't plan to do this today. Now I just want to make it clear, right? I don't care if people subscribe from my channel. It's your choice, but it's always your choice whether you subscribe to my channel or you unsubscribe from my channel because you don't like my content. That's fair enough. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I really am. But I will call out the people that unsubscribe because they don't like my opinion. Now you're allowed to do that, and you know, Tom Generation X, Tom Fury said it today. It's like we have to be the movement where we call each other out and not be tribalistic. And if we see people doing stuff that we don't agree with, we have to call them out for it. That has to be done. We have to do that because otherwise we're no better than the far left. Now, if you don't like it that I call somebody out that you follow or that you watch regularly and you like them, and then you unsubscribe, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. You do that. But it only proves one thing about yourself, that you don't like people having differing opinions to the people that you like. And in that respect, you're no better than the far left. And you shouldn't be going to the fucking Unite the Kingdom free speech rallies with your flag, making out that you support free speech, because you don't. You don't. If you are closed off to other opinions and you're only willing to listen to the people that confirm your bias, then you're no better than the far left. Simple as that. Just want to get that out there. I won't stop saying the things I say just because people unsubscribe. If you think that's a way to try and control this channel by unsubscribing, well, if he doesn't agree with me, I'm going to unsubscribe from his channel. Go for it. Because I've had to rebuild channels before. I've lost channels before. This isn't my first rodeo. Now, I respect everybody's opinion. I do. All you commenters that come to my video, leave a comment. I respect your comments. I read every single one that I can. The ones that YouTube doesn't disappear. But I do. I respect you guys' opinion. And I hope that you respect me enough to realize that this is who I am as a person. If I see something, I will call it out. Now, by all means, come to my video. Have a debate about it. But don't just throw all your toys out the pram and unsubscribe and fuck off. Because that helps nobody, does it? Let's have a discussion about it. Raise concerns. Put it in the chat. That's what this channel is about. Like I said, the reason I was so... Some people might call it passive aggressive. Maybe it was a bit passive aggressive this morning in the video. But I don't want to be a channel where I'm getting involved into drama. You know, sometimes you have to call things out in a roundabout way. Just to let people know that you know what's going on. Yeah, that's what the intention of this morning's video was. It was to talk about a subject without causing division or drama. It was like saying, look, there are some people in our movement that are just here just to toss it off and just milk the goodwill of the patriot movement and give nothing back, because that is true. That is very, very true. There are those people in this movement that are doing that. They don't give a toss about me or you, or the fact whether this country, we get our country back or not. They pretend to, but they don't really. Let's have a look. The only reason I mention the AY shit show, we get people to, I can't even fucking read this. It's so fucking small on StreamYard. Try and increase the fucking size. There's no, oh, there we go. Well, that's better. That's better. I can actually read in chat now. Sorry about everybody. My eyes are going. I need glasses, really. I'm getting to that point. I need glasses. The only reason I mentioned AY shit show was to get people closer to him, to get him in order. As I've said, little people speech from Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, Steve. I've never actually seen Lawrence of Arabia. So yeah, Jack, yeah, do you still watch Jeff Taylor? Yeah, I watch Jeff Taylor. Jeff Taylor gets out and about. He does his bit. He's out on the front lines with the Patriots. He goes to the protests and stuff like that. He was out on the United Kingdom. I'll be honest with you, I prefer him when he's at the protest rather than when he's making his videos, because this isn't his fault. He just sounds a little bit robotic to me when he's doing his it sounds like he's actually reading off a teleprompter, and that kind of puts me off. I like people that are fluid, and I'm not saying that he's not genuine. He is genuine. I'm just saying it just sounds planned, that it's not really coming from the heart kind of thing. It is, but it just doesn't sound like it is. DJE is a sex offender. Well, I'm not going to comment on that, but what I think you should do is go and watch his side of the story. People need to be very careful about who they trust, because I bet all of you are going to all jump into the side of AY audits because he said a few things, but he's got skeletons in his closet as well, as DJE Media proves. Now, it could be a case where they're both in the wrong. There may not be a good guy and a bad guy in all of this. Who knows? But, the truth will come out in the end, either way. But I would suggest that people keep the powder dry and look at both sides of the story. Look at the evidence. That's all I can say. Charlie Veach bodyguard Fred had called out Bob Villan and asked him to come and fight him, and said it's like a gypsy call out. Okay. I might totally agree with you. People are critical and just don't understand the real meaning of free speech. Lots of grifts out there, buddy. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people, this is just my honest opinion, I think a lot of people have taken AY Audit's side because he was the only one saying anything. DJE Media's kept quiet. I think to his detriment. I don't think he should have kept quiet for this long. I think he should have nipped this in the bud, just come out and shut this guy down before it got to this stage. But there's information on both sides, and you've got to go where the evidence is. You've got to go where the evidence is on all of this, haven't you? That's the path you should follow. If the evidence says that something is true, then it's true. If the other person doesn't have any evidence to prove what they're saying is true, then it's not true. Yeah, I've just been watching him. I've just been watching DJE Media's video. Very telling, very telling. And again, unless you have the full story, if you only listen to one side of the story, you're not getting the full picture, like you've just said in your comment. So listen to both sides, weigh up the evidence that both sides provide, and then make an informed decision. Don't just jump on a bandwagon because one of your favorite YouTubers is saying something. That's not how things are done. You've got to go on the evidence, what the evidence actually says. The guy's all mouth. He's all mouth. I've seen these people all the way through YouTube and stuff like that. Keyboard warriors. You know, he's mouthy while he's got a stage. While he's on stage, he's mouthy with his microphone because he's got the crowd. He thinks he's the big man. But you get it. You get these people on their own. You get these people on their own when there's no audience and they're as quiet as a mouse. That's exactly what you should do. You should do your own research. It's not hard. You know, if the evidence is out there, it'll be out there. I mean, if DJ Media really does have some kind of court order against him about a sex offence, it will be on the public record. If you have his name and you go and look for his name, you should be able to find it quite easily because all that stuff is public domain. It's like the old thing, isn't it? It's like mud sticks. Look at everything that's been said against Tommy Robinson that isn't true. A lot of people believed it for a long time because it was being repeated and regurgitated, repeated and repeated and repeated lies. I mean, it's like Joseph Goebbels, isn't it? It's like if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. And I'm not saying that anybody's lying in any of this. I'm just saying that you have to be careful. You have to look at the evidence, the actual evidence, not what people are saying, the actual evidence that they're providing for something. And if one side can provide evidence that says, yeah, all that this person is saying is bullshit, and the other person can't provide any evidence, then that's made your mind up for you. Regardless what you feel about the person, it's the truth. Your feelings are irrelevant in it. And if you deny the evidence and keep following this person, even though it's been proven that they're liars, then that says a lot more about you than it does about the person the accusations have been made about. Tommy is a hero. He is. That's why I'm wary. That's why I'm wary of everything now. Because I've seen what they've done to Tommy Robinson. I've seen what can be done to a person through word of mouth and the repeating of lies over time, constantly. So we have to be wary that this doesn't happen. That's why evidence is important. I found a court order, but it wasn't sex related. Have to be careful throwing serious claims around. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. These are serious. It's serious. You know, this isn't just some internet banter. This is real life consequences. Exactly. You can't just go on a live stream and accuse somebody of doing something and then offer up no evidence and just think, well, because I've got a huge following, you should believe me. That's not how it works. You still have to provide evidence for what you're saying. And if people are just believing somebody because they've got a big following on the internet, that's not a very smart way of doing things. It isn't. I like CP reports. To be honest with you, CP Reports has got more balls than some blokes I know, definitely. She's not afraid of getting stuck in there and getting right into the action. I'll definitely say that for her. Exactly, and this is why we have to be careful. This is why when people make accusations against others on the internet, that we all ask for evidence. We ask for evidence of what they're saying. We don't just take their word on it. Say, right, fair enough. You're making this accusation. Now, what have you got to prove it? How are you going to prove this to me? That's how everybody should be. But unfortunately, that's not how things work on the internet, because people have this blind loyalty following type mentality, tribalism, and they will just accept whatever the person they follow says without any evidence. That's not how we do things. Now, I've got a funny feeling that one of these parties involved in this at some point is going to have to make an apology. It'll probably most likely ruin them. You'll never see them on the internet again. Remember that guy that was going out to all the protests, another auditor, I forget his name now, wore the high-vis vest. Wasn't he the guy in the scooter, on the scooter all the time going around? Turned out he was a convicted paedophile. Yeah, yes, Steve. I'm not surprised either, to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Now she's not going to be in there very long. But if they do another United Kingdom one down in London, after, they may be victims of their own success in this regard. I think the next time they try and do one of these big rallies down in London, that the local authorities are going to do their very best to block it. They're going to try and block it. They're going to try and stop it now. They've seen how successful this one is. They've seen them grow successively over time. And the next one's most likely to be even bigger. Because if they do it in the summer, instead of in, partially towards the winter like they did this one, in the summer, it will be massive. So, yeah. That is huge. That is huge. Oh yeah, let's talk about this, shall we? Let's talk about this as well, because this is just a general chat today. All subjects are open today. I'm laughing because it's just so. I don't think anybody believed it was going to happen. I don't think there's one person in this country that believed it was going to happen, that the government was actually going to deport anybody, because they're one for one. They're one for one deportation. Yeah, the one person that they were trying to deport, they had to cancel it because of concerns of legal action, which is always going to happen. These lefty human rights lawyers are always going to intervene. So long as the government doesn't just say fuck off to these people, say, we don't care what you're going to do, take your legal action. They're going to be, in the meantime, we're just going to kick them out of the country. You know what? We'll kick them out of the country and then we'll deal with it afterwards. Once they're gone, deal with it then. Just deport them. There are literally dozens of countries on mainland Europe that ignore the European Court of Human Rights when it comes to deporting illegal immigrants in their country. They just ignore them. They just ignore it and think, yeah, you're gone. It's not because they're abiding behind the European Court of Human Rights or that it carries any weight whatsoever in this country. It's just the sheer lack of willing to do it. And now I'm not just talking about the Labour. I'm talking about the Conservatives as well. They just had no desire to do it. They could have stopped the boats. Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, they all could have stopped the boats. Liz Truss wasn't in long enough to do anything about anything. But they could have stopped the boats. Literally, they had an 80-seat majority. They could have stopped the boats. They could have put any piece of legislation through Parliament, stop the boats. And all you have to do, you don't even have to physically do anything. You just have to get rid of the incentives. We keep saying this. Get rid of the incentives to come in the first place. You get rid of all the cushy 4-star hotels. Get rid of those. So you're not having those anymore. You're not going to be at the front of the queue in social housing. You're not going to get free money. You're not going to get a free phone. In fact, all we're going to do is we're going to process you. We're going to put you in a detention camp, feed you prison food. You're going to be under armed guard with barbed wire around it, one of our MOD sites in a tent. And then we're going to deport you. You watch how fast the boats stop coming. They won't want to pay the extortionate amount of money the people traffickers are wanting to come to a country only to be stuck in a tent detention camp and then shipped out the same day. That would stop it. But that's just common sense stuff, isn't it? That's just common sense. And we don't have anybody in Parliament that has any common sense. And I'm going to be deeply critical of Rupert Lowe. Because, and I'm going completely off topic now, but what an opportunity for Rupert Lowe to get on stage at the Unite the Kingdom rally and speak to that amount of people, yet wouldn't turn up. And that speaks volumes, because he's still of the same mindset as the Reform Party. They won't get on a stage with Tommy Robinson. They won't do it. And no matter how much I respect Rupert Lowe for the things that he said in Parliament, the things he's getting done, I have to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, he's more or less in that category of there's literally nobody in Parliament willing to take any action to help us. And when I heard that the other day, that he was doing this cross-party collaboration to try and change things, it's like, it's not going to work, Rupert. You're within a system that is completely and utterly broken. You cannot fix it from the inside. You can't fix it from the inside, unfortunately. The complete political process, the whole system which we are governed by, is broken. You will not fix it from the inside. You won't. You can't get those people that are career politicians to come over to you and start changing the mechanisms of how we're governed, because you just don't have the power to do it. You need a government to be in there that is going to go in there, sack all the permanent secretaries, get rid of all of them, sack the fifth column within Whitehall, the civil service, get rid of them all. That's what needs to happen. And unfortunately, Rupert Lowe doesn't have the power to do that. So any cross-party shit that he's doing is worthless. It is. And I hate to burst his bubble about that. It is. I credit him for trying to achieve it, but it's just a dead end. It really is. And it's like, this annoys me so much, right? He's got, like, again, credit where credit is due. He's trying to do something, his petition. But petitions do fuck all. Petitions don't do anything. How many petitions have we had now for a general election? The first one got over, what was it? Nearly 6 million, over 6 million signatures on it. Nothing. Government just dismissed it. The second one got what? Was it 2 million views on it? 2 million signatures? Didn't do anything. The petition system for government is a pressure release valve. It's to give you the illusion that you have some sort of control over government, when in reality you don't. Because every time somebody signs a signature on a petition, you think you've achieved something. And the fact is, you haven't. And I had this conversation the other day with somebody in one of my videos, on the comment section of my videos, because they were saying, we've still got to go out and vote. And I pointed out to them, your vote is worthless. Until we get rid of the fifth column within civil service, which stops the government from doing its job, until we get rid of those people, until we get rid of the permanent secretaries that are the puppeteers of the government, it doesn't matter who you put into power, nothing will change. Hence, your vote is worthless until the whole system itself is changed. Yeah. You know what? In this day and age, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It shouldn't be a waste of time, and it won't be. We just need the right sort of people to go in there and fix it. Farage isn't that person, definitely not. I mean, the amount of people that are defecting from the Tories to the Reform Party, and they are. Come on, you've got to admit it now. If you're a Reform supporter, you must admit this now, that the Reform Party is just the rebranding of the Conservative Party now. That's what it is. It is, isn't it? It's just the Tory party with another name. That's what they are. Miss Moon, there's an advantage of writing to an MP as they must formally respond. But my MP's manager told me to F off twice. Yeah, it's all right writing to MP so long as the letter gets to MP. They have a lot of advisors. You know, people don't realise just how massive government is. You know, the Prime Minister has dozens of advisors, and the advisors will have advisors, and their advisors will have advisors. It's just like a Russian doll, an infinite Russian doll with these people. That's why it costs so much in government. That's why, you know, people talk about the NHS being a money pit. Government is a money pit. Something needs to change. You know, we can't carry on being governed the way we are being governed. It just doesn't work. There just aren't enough checks and balances in place to protect the people from a government like this getting to power. There isn't. I'm going to keep saying, I know when I say this, I'm going to get all the comments saying, go and take a look at Graham Moore. Well, I have been taking a look at Graham Moore. I do agree with some of the things he's saying, but there's a lot that I don't agree with him on. I have been looking into Graham Moore because I get that in the comments a lot as well. Are you researching Graham Moore? Yes, I am, and a lot of things he does say rings true. Yeah, he's a really good. He knows his stuff about the unwritten constitution. The thing is though, with our unwritten constitution is a lot of it has been overridden by modern laws and acts of parliament. So the things that he's talking about are, what can I say? The things he's talking about, even though it's factually true, yes, there is an unwritten constitution. Yes, there are things in that written constitution that would apply to today's situation. The thing is, they have no power in law. And the reason is because they've been overridden by modern law or acts of parliament. There would need to be a massive repealing of all modern laws to bring forth the old unwritten constitution to make it viable again, which is why we need a written constitution. We need a written constitution in this country that highlights and points out our rights, our Bill of Rights. And I know there's a Bill of Rights in the unwritten constitution. I know all about that, but it's been overridden by modern laws and acts of parliament. That's why we need a new written constitution, a new written Bill of Rights. Now, this unwritten constitution could be the template for that new written constitution. Yeah. We need something. We need something like America. We need something like America. Bill of Rights, a First Amendment that guarantees free speech in law, that sets that line in what you can and cannot say. Because at the minute we don't have that in this country. The hate crime laws and all the laws to do with the Communications Act and all this kind of stuff are absolutely nebulous. There's nobody knows where the line is in the sand with what you can and cannot say, because it changes on a daily basis. The thing is, Miss Moon, right, that the important stuff has been overridden for a reason. You know, not many people know that in the Constitution we do have a right to bear arms. That's in the written constitution, unwritten constitution. There are actually loads of laws in that, and you can understand why they've been overridden, because modern politicians would fear that. They would fear some of these conditions in our unwritten constitution, because it would stop them from doing the things they are doing now. That's why they've been overridden. We've allowed this to happen over time. If you look at America, because it's relatively a very young country, they've never allowed that to happen, because they know that governments can be tyrannical. You can get a system, you can get people in there that are tyrants, which is why they wrote their constitution, because they saw what life was like under a tyrannical king, and they didn't want that to happen in their country. That's why they put protections in place. Constitutional law is there to protect them. So look at some of the comments. Rambling on. This is going to be a thing of the past, by the way. Me just rambling. Once I get the new laptop, we can play videos, we can discuss videos in here. I can have people in, come and have a chat, we can have a debate, we can talk about things. It's going to be awesome. It's going to make things right. While I'm on the subject with all of this, I want to promote this again. While I'm in here, I'll promote this again. Let me get it up. I will look at some more comments in a minute. I have sent off all the paperwork for the channel to be monetized. It's met all the criteria. It's just a matter of doing some paperwork and getting the channel monetized. So then we can really start to kick things off. Do that one, that's it. Right. So I'm going to promote this a little bit when it comes up on the screen. It'll come up in a minute. So Chesterfield on the, when is it? Sunday the 18th of September. Sorry, 28th of September. It's my eyes again. So if you can, if you're living around the Chesterfield area, if you're in the Chesterfield area, make your way to this protest on Sunday the 28th of September. It starts at 4 p.m. I don't know what time it finishes. I think it's probably going about maybe a couple of hours. I'm going to be there. I don't know if I'm going to live stream or not yet. We'll see what it's like. We'll see what the live stream's doing when I get there. But I'm going to be there. And, you know, this is Chesterfield. I think this is the first one in Chesterfield to get off the ground and to do a protest. But yeah, we're going to go and check it out. I'll be videoing it, streaming it. We're going to get some of the stink goblins, the communist stink goblins coming along. So yeah, I just want to promote that a little bit. So if you're in the Chesterfield area and you're watching this video, get down there. And oh, by the way, if you've ever seen the video of the massive Union flag being dropped over a building, over an ex-council building, that's in Chesterfield. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing a bit of a video from there. There might not be a morning video tomorrow because I've got some things to do, but I will be doing a video from Chesterfield Town Centre tomorrow because I'm going to go and look and see, because from what I've heard, the Raise the Flag, Raise the Colours campaign has come to Chesterfield, and there are Union flags and St George's crosses everywhere. So we're going to go and check it out, see if we can find them and have a look at that tomorrow. Bit of a different content, something different, that sort of thing. But yeah, if you can, if you're living in the area, come down to the protest, show your support, give these people support, that sort of thing. Right, I want to cover this because a lot of people have been talking about this. What about the monarchy, royal family? Charles III has already proven he's part of the problem. Doubt William will better escape. The royal family's done. It ended with the Queen. Now, I know there's a lot of debate about the Queen, how effective she was as a monarch, whether she gave a shit about this country. That's up for debate. But it's certainly that the new modern monarchy that's left is on its last days. I don't think it'll last out this century. I think it'll be gone. I really do. I think the coming change in this country, people don't realise the change that's coming here. For me personally, the monarchy should have died with the Queen because they're an absolute shit show. And I keep seeing this as well. People keep saying, why isn't King Charles dissolving Parliament and, you know, standing up for the people? Not a lot of people know that King Charles was one of the founding members of the World Economic Forum. Once you know that little fact, you understand why he isn't doing anything to save this country. Why would he go against an organization that he helped create? That's why. He's heavily involved with the World Economic Forum. His sons are. They're all involved in it. They don't care about this country. They don't give a shit about us. They really don't. There we go. I'll advertise that one as well. Every Friday, 7 p.m, Clacton-on-Sea, Town Hall, protest, join us, stop being keyboard warriors. Yes, exactly. You really have got to stand up and be counted now. This is what the whole Unite the Kingdom rally was for. It was to inspire people. It's not just to walk down the street waving a flag. It's to inspire you and give you the confidence to know that you're not alone. You saw when you went to that rally, you looked around and saw that you're not alone. You saw how massive the movement actually is. And that in turn should give you the courage to go back to your own town and start arranging your own protests, because you know you're not alone. And there's a hell of a lot more people in the towns and cities that would come out and protest. All it takes is that one person to step up to the plate and arrange one, and people will attend. People are afraid. They're afraid. And I can understand their fear, because look at what Keir Starmer has done. He's put the fear in them. He's basically said, you know, you don't really know what you're going to say that's going to be offensive enough to get you put in prison, do you? Like I said in my video this morning, we're all taking a massive risk. Everybody's taking a massive risk. All those people who went down to the United Kingdom rally, they were taking a risk when they went. Everybody. That's exactly right. Your country needs you people now more than ever, yes. I used to, if you've not watched my earlier videos on my channel, go and watch them. I used to go and protest, stand up to racism on my own. Nobody used to come down. They were unhindered in Chesterfield until I started to protest them. It's just having the balls to go up there and stand there and say, no, I stand against you. And let them call you all the names under the sun. They were doing it to me. One of them said, look, the master race. That's how deluded these people are. They're absolutely batshit crazy. They're insane. They're insane. Unfortunately, I feel alone in Newcastle. Remember the guy who said I was wrong about the new Bridge Street migrant hotel and never got back to me? So probably a leftist soy boy. Yeah, just ignore him, Steve. This is one thing we can celebrate, right? Cross-party unity. So Nick Tenconi has invited Ben Habib to join him on his march in Newcastle when Advanced UK holds its rally there. That's good. That's a good sign. I hope he does. I hope he takes him up on the offer. Now he's done the United Kingdom rally and knows that, yeah, you get down the ground with the people, they respect you a hell of a lot more. Imagine how many people would vote for Advanced UK now they've seen Ben Habib on stage with the people. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. I've got nothing but respect for Nick Tenconi. I've got to say, right, this is one criticism of Ben Habib when he got on the stage. He said, where are all the politicians? Well, Nick Tenconi was in the crowd. He was on the march. So there was more than Ben Habib there. Nick Tenconi was in the crowd marching with the people. He has a lot of respect. Nick Tenconi has a lot of respect from the people on the ground. He really does. I don't usually talk about party politics, but credit where credit is due. If, you know, that's what we need to see. We need to see people uniting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was. Yeah. I forgot to mention that as well. Paul Golding was there as well. He put his ego aside and went to the rally. And he was saying in comments, yeah, I'm glad I did it. Nick Tenconi and UKIP should get Ben Habib fans to join them. Yeah. Maybe not join them, but at least form some kind of an alliance. Exactly. Nick was there, but in danger. Wherever he goes, exactly. He's had to get bodyguards now. And I want to cover this as well. This is something I wanted to mention in the live stream as well, because I've had a few people in the comments saying, Is there any way I can get in touch? I want to speak to you in private. I don't do that. I'm sorry, but I don't do that. You've probably noticed lately I've toned down how much I talk about my private life in live streams, in my videos. I keep it strictly to the content of the channel. I don't speak about my private life. I don't mention it. For me, that was a massive mistake. I've learned my lesson on that one. I revealed way too much information about my personal life, and that led to some real world consequences for me. Mainly some nut job stalker trying to find me and my family, making threats. Like I said, the things that I say on my channel are just the tip of the iceberg. Most people don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. Most people don't know what content creators face when we make the content we do. And we don't say we have particular threats because it just encourages more people to do the same. But I've definitely dialed back on the personal life stuff and that sort of thing. It's like I've learnt my lesson. Give out way too much information. And there are people, I know there are people that watch the channel that look for any slight clue that I give about my life, and they will use that against me to try and find me and my family. And I have to have some kind of barrier to protect my family. They're the most important thing to me in the world. They are. And I won't let anybody jeopardize that. And so that's why I've dialed back on the personal information side of things. I appreciate people in the comments asking me how me and my family are, and I always respond to that. I will say we're doing good, thanks. But apart from that, I won't divulge any personal information or anything like that. I don't trust anybody apart from the people that I've known for a very long time, that I know I can trust, that I've seen in person. I know the real people. I know there are people out there that are trying to find out information about me. I know that. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Charlie Kirk, but given the emboldenment of the far left recently, the communists, about how they feel justified in killing somebody for their opinions, even more so now, even more so, because they're insane. These people are insane. And you have to believe them when they say it. They want you dead. They do want you dead. They will kill you for your opinions. And it doesn't matter if you're a big YouTuber or a small YouTuber. If they feel offended by you, then they will kill you. They will find a way of doing it. And I think that's why, I think Steve mentioned it earlier, that he thinks Charlie Veitch got another Osman warning. That's why he's been a bit quiet lately, because he has his issues too. That's right, Danny. Danny is right. Vin never do. They will take every little piece of info, store it, and wait again. Then store that until they build up. Yeah, definitely. Until they have a huge picture. Yeah, that's what I found out they were doing. And it's scary. It's scary to think that there are sort of people out there. And we can't afford bodyguards. No, I've got my training from my past job that I did. I've got my training and I will rely heavily on that. But my family don't have that training. And I have to acknowledge that the things I do are putting them at risk as well. So I have to be very, very careful what I say online. People ask me about my past, about my stuff that I did regarding military and stuff like that. I don't say anything now because all of that can be used to track me. And that is scary. You know, it really brought it home. Charlie Kirk just sat there having a debate. The next minute, some absolute fucking nut job takes a shot at him with a high-powered rifle just for his opinion. And then the aftermath is that we have all the lunatics justifying it, agreeing with it, and saying, well, he did say some pretty horrendous stuff, as if that justifies killing somebody. That just proved to me that these people are insane. That this is what happens when you exist in an echo chamber where you have no differing opinion. The only thing you're being fed is the message. That's terrifying. That these people have been radicalized to that point that they think it's perfectly okay to kill somebody for an opinion that they don't like. That's why I've got the stab-proof vest. So when I do any big events now, the stab-proof vest is going on. I've even looked at getting a plate carrier because metal plates are better than Kevlar. I'd rather walk around with a heavy plate, and it's easy. To be honest with you, the plates are better than the cumbersome Kevlar vest because they are a bit bulky. Whereas if you've got plates protecting your vital organs, yeah, it's heavier, but it's more easier to conceal underneath your clothing than it is a massive padded Kevlar vest. But yeah, that's the sort of restrictions we have to take now. Imagine this, right? That, you know, Keir Starmer's coming out and saying the streets are safer. The streets are safer. And then you realise that YouTubers have to go around the streets with bodyguards because they're scared about getting stabbed or shot or acid thrown at them or worse. Our Charlie had 1, 2, and they took a headshot. If they want you gone, they'll try anything. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying anybody's going to come at me with a high-powered rifle. I'm just saying that having metal plates rather than a stab vest is probably better than the really cumbersome. I'll have to show you. I'll have to show you in a video how big and bulky it is. And I don't know about you, but I run hot all the time, which means I'm always warm. And I tried wearing it the other day. I tried walking about with it, and it's like, Jesus Christ, this thing's hot. You know, I thought the body armor I wore out in Iraq was warm, but it was like, you know, I'm a bit older now. I've put on a few more pounds, and it's a bit more warmer. So yeah, but then again, you know, there you go. Yeah, that's the point. It's just bulky, isn't it, Danny? It's like, Jesus Christ, this thing's bulky. Yeah, you know what, young Bob, definitely. The very least protection, the most protection he needs is a stab vest when he's going to Speaker's Corner, and he needs security because, yeah, fair enough. The last few times he's had lefties come up and just pour water on him, but it could quite easily have been bleach. It could quite easily have been acid. Quite easily, and then that's him gone. And they've got no concept that what they're doing is wrong. They think they're perfectly justified in doing it. If anybody's seen the video footage of young Bob being assaulted, they just don't care. They just think they're completely justified in doing it. I'm dropping Rupert low. He should have shown us support on the 13th, but too scared to be seen associated with that lot. Not paying to sign petitions. I would sign for free. Sod it. Works both ways. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing. And if anybody's had any kind of training or anything like that, that's the first place they're going to go for. Your amateur is going to try and do a movie type stab and try and stab you in the stomach. And a Kevlar vest will potentially stop that. But yeah, if they've had some kind of training, because there are veterans on the lefty side as well, that's scary. There are veterans on their side of things as well. Bit of training, bit of unarmed combat training. They'll know all the soft spots, where to hit you, where to slash to cause maximum damage. The people just don't realise how dangerous it is, and they're saying that this is what makes me laugh. They think that you just go out with a camera and just point it, and it's easy. It's not. When you go to these events, you're trying to film, but you've also got to have your head on a swivel, watching out for potential Antifa behind you. And then you've got people in the chat saying, wow, this is a bit shaky. This camera's a bit shaky. It's like, yeah, mate, because I've got about 20 Antifa around me. They surrounded me and my head's on a swivel. So I'm sorry for the shaky camera, but I'm trying not to get my head caved in. That sort of thing. So I think I got those comments when I went to the UKIP rally in Nottingham in June. Somebody was in the chat saying, well, this camera's a bit shaky. It's like, yeah, I'm actually in the middle of Antifa being arrested by the police and everything's kicking off all around me. And it's like, what do you want me to do? Perfectly stabilization. It's like, I had that guy sneak up behind me. It's actually in the video. The guy with the dog tried to sneak up behind me. And I just caught him out the corner of my eye, trying to get behind me. He was trying to do something with my backpack. And I turned around to him and I said, what are you trying to do, mate? Don't go behind me. And it was the same guy later on that was trying to harass that lady, where I had to step in again and move him on because he was being a prize dick. And he was Antifa. Yeah, exactly. You're trying to do all that. You're not going to get any protection from the police because they're just looking for an excuse to squirt pepper spray in your face at point blank range and then smack you around the head with a baton. So you're trying to keep an eye on Antifa. You look at the police to make sure they're not going to get frisky with you. So bear in mind, when you see auditors or people trying to live stream and it's a little bit shaky, just bear in mind that what they're doing, you know, they're in a very dangerous situation. Every time you go to one of these protests now, it's dangerous because they are going to start to escalate their violence, Antifa especially. Now they've seen the United Kingdom rally, that shook them. You're going to see an increase in left-wing violence now to counter it. They don't have any arguments. All they have is violence. When I was at the UKIP rally in Nottingham, they were telling me that quite a few of the protests, they tried to get the high ground, Antifa, and they were trying to throw glass bottles at them. They were chucking eggs and all kinds of stuff. I know eggs don't really hurt you, but you know it's still there, isn't it? It's like something you don't want on you. Yeah, they're vile people, absolutely vile, and it's just going to escalate. I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to meet him. He was surrounded by security, and they were like being very vigilant about who they let through. And you can understand it. You can understand it. They're not just going to let some nobody YouTuber walk up to him, have a chat with him. Why do you think I've only reconned the Newcastle demos? I'm looking for evidence because I think the migrants are causing problems elsewhere. Yeah. Yeah, I would if you wanted to come on, but he's not going to come on a little tiny channel like mine. Oh God, yeah. It's absolutely a tinderbox. And you know what? It's not just at the protests. I can walk down into the town centre and you can see it on people's faces. You can see it on people's faces, the tension. You can feel the tension in the air. I'm sure that's the same in every town and city in the country now. We've got to remember, though, if Keir Starmer does resign, that it's not a celebration. We can't celebrate it because we're going to get somebody even worse. We'll get somebody even worse in the position. And the thing is with the Labour Party, they're all untested. Every single one of them are untested as leaders. They have no clue. And that's more or less the same for all of our political class. There's absolutely no leadership qualities in them because the majority of the Labour Party have never owned a business. They've never run a business. So they have no clue about leadership or anything like that. They're activists. They're all activists. Jesus, yeah, can you imagine that? Oh my God, David Lammy as Prime Minister. Oh God. Any of them, to be honest with you, would be a disaster, wouldn't it? Any of them. Yeah, so just to reiterate as well, I want to get this out there as well, because I did say it in a video earlier, but I want to do it again. So when you see me put in the hearts on comments, it doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with the comment. It's just me acknowledging that I've read it, because I want people to know that I do read the comments. I do. I read all the comments on my videos. Some of the more popular ones where there's like probably 200 or 300, I probably won't get to them all, but I'll definitely try and get to the majority of them. Definitely. I always try to do that. Even if I don't respond, you'll probably get a heart acknowledging that I've actually read your comment. I do read them all. And I think that's a mistake a lot of YouTubers don't do, is address their audience. Your audience is you, it's your channel. They're the people that make the channel. And I don't see some of the big YouTubers engaging with their audience as much as they should. Don't have much faith in any political party. Farage, Lowe, Ticconi, or Habib. If I had to choose, it would be Ticconi, because he's the only one who confronts the tyranny on the streets. Again, that's what gets you a lot of respect. You stand with the people, they respect you for it. They know you're not just all mouth and all talk because you stood there with them when you're having bricks chucked at your head. They've been there. And he was there. He was there during the riots as well. He was at the protests during the riots. He was getting stuff chucked at him just as much as the Patriots were. Or said Vin, days after I commented on this channel that I was concerned for young Bob, they took the life of Charlie Kirk. We all must know the danger. Exactly. We can't take anything for granted anymore. This isn't a high trust country. It's a low trust country now. This is the issue, right? This is why our police force is so ineffective. And I think Steve might agree with me on this, right? It's not only that they're just shitly trained and incompetent. Our police force is designed for a high trust society. That's why they're not armed. I wouldn't want them to be armed. I said this in X the other day. I've seen how they use pepper spray. I wouldn't want any of our frontline police officers to be carrying a firearm. Not a chance in hell. But our police force is designed for a high trust society. They're not compatible with the amount of third world people we're bringing to this country where there is no law and order where they come from. They're coming from low trust cultures where there is no law and order into a country that was a high trust society where in some areas you could leave your door unlocked and you wouldn't get broken into. You can walk the streets without carrying a weapon. That's changed. The country has changed. It's no longer a high trust society. It's a low trust society. And our police just aren't trained for that. They're not trained for a low trust society. The sort of police we need now, in my opinion, would be probably ex-military, probably that have been doing CPO work in the Middle East. That's the sort of police force you need. That's the people you need in the police force. People that know how to deal with these people we now have in this country because they've dealt with them before. They know what the culture's like. They know how to deal with them. They know how to interact with them. They're the sort of police officers you need on the street. No nonsense, no bullshit police officers. The only way you get that is to get rid of all the hierarchy as well. All the wokeness needs to be purged out of the police force. That's what's making the police force ineffective. The fact that you're getting college graduates and people that shouldn't be in the police force, simply shouldn't be in the police force at all. That's what I saw. That's what I saw in Nottingham, Steve. They had no operational awareness at all. Zero. No leadership qualities whatsoever. It was simply react to a situation, react to this situation, react to that situation. There was no forward planning. So no anticipation of what could happen, no tactics. It's like, well, if this happens, we need this formation to move in here, we need that formation to move in there. And then have the officers briefed and ready to do it. So it's like you don't have to make it up on the go. It's like they know what they're doing. They can quickly say, right, that formation now, go. And they do it. I saw that in Nottingham. It took me, and I've said this before in the live streams, it took me and some other auditors to go to the police and say, you do know that Antifa is marching right up your middle flank and there's nobody there to stop them. They're about to march straight into the protest. That's how much operational awareness they had. Zero. Nothing. And for such a small area, I couldn't believe how incompetent they were in policing it. Totally incompetent. Didn't have a clue. This little fucking DEI fucking commander woman running about trying to react at situations when they happen. They've got fucking radios. It's like, why aren't you on the radio telling each section what to do? Get to a high point, look at the situation, and then command. Instead, you've got the police just running around, not knowing what the fuck they're doing. Oh God, don't get me started, Steve. I was watching it and I was thinking, Jesus Christ. I was like, whoa. It's like they were just literally letting Antifa walk through the cordon into the protest. They were wearing masks. They knew who they were. They just wouldn't do anything to stop them. And it's like, that's Antifa. That's Antifa. He's taking pictures of the whole protest of people doing reconnaissance. They're doing reconnaissance. And the only thing the police could do, the police evidence gatherers, was to try and hide in the corner and try and video us in secret. But I spotted him. And you can see me, I zoom in on them, and they actually waved to me because I waved to them. And the way they were dealing with them, the way they were dealing with Antifa, you know the way they dealt with the Patriots on Saturday when they immediately helmets went on, the batons came out. They weren't doing that with Antifa. When Antifa refused to move in that section in Nottingham, they were like just standing still and letting the police walk into them. They didn't have the batons out. They were just like gently shoving them, saying, move on, please, move on, please. It's like if that had been the Patriots with the flags out, they'd been beaten and then dragged down to the end of the road and arrested. It's like what I said in my video the other day. It's like, don't come here and tell me there's no two-tier policing, because I will just call you a liar to your face and say it's bullshit, because it is. Two-tier policing exists. This is the dangerous though. I can't. Was it Yagdrol? Is that how you pronounce your name? Yagdrol? I don't know. We need a strong patriot in his 30s who is going to rise out of nowhere and lead this masses who cannot buy houses, cannot rent, cannot fund a family. The thing is, you've got to stop looking for that person, because if you're thinking that, then that person is you. That's the honest truth. Stop waiting for a savior, because you are the savior. You're the savior in your own world. Yeah, I was watching all the different live streams. I've been, that's all I've been doing lately, is like watching the live streams at the police brutality. I've been trying to make a compilation for a video just to highlight how bad it was. The ban thing at the UK was ridiculous, was used to have a rule on bans. They all know you got one. You don't need to wave it about. Exactly. And from what I know from police training, I don't know if this is true, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but they regard head strikes as a last resort. You only strike someone in the head if it's a last resort, you basically you go for the pain spots. Like you know what they are, Steve. I'm not going to repeat it on it because YouTube might not like it, but you know what the painful areas are. They're the spots that you whack somebody on it, and they instantly they back off because it's instant pain. But yeah, head strikes are very frowned upon. When we were doing our training for our CPO training, they said, we did a bit of crowd control sort of thing, and they said that head strikes were very frowned upon because if you hit somebody in the head, even with like a lightly blunt object, it can cause a lot of damage if you hit them in the wrong place. Yeah, that is alive and well, definitely. It's the Westminster bubble, isn't it? It's definitely the north-south divide, definitely, regarding the middle class. They look down their noses at us. Look, Farage does. Richard Tice does. Richard Tice called us that lot. Nigel Farage is a class snob. Yeah, and there was one guy, right? I don't know if everybody saw this. Whose live stream was it I was watching? I can't remember whose live stream it was when I was watching it. But I'll try. What I'll try and do is I'll try and leave a link of it if I can find it. Steve will probably know because he was watching all the live streams like I was. But there's one incident where this lad was trying to get through, and the police punched him in the face. This black guy was just repeatedly punching him in the head, and they were trying to drag him through, and they were punching him while he was on the floor. They kettled a small group of people at the Patriot crowd, and they're trying to drag him out. And it was like, what are you doing? Yeah, I haven't seen that one. That's the one, yeah, that's Reggie, yeah. Reggie Photo, he got that one. It was like, what are you doing? DJ Media, I'm not sure. Reggie Photo. I think I saw it on Reggie Photo, but it could have been on his channel as well. But yeah, they were proper going for him. That's the one. Yeah, this is where the lefties get it wrong. This is where the lefties get it wrong, though, Carl, right? Because the lefties think that because you're a nationalist, that means you're a white supremacist. And like everything, everything's on a scale. So there's extreme nationalism, which is like you said, is like the ethno-nationalists. But being a nationalist in itself doesn't make you racist. You can be proud of your country. You can be proud of your country, proud of your culture, and be a patriot and be a nationalist. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as that's where it stops. It's when you start taking it to those extremes that it becomes dangerous. And this is where the leftists get it wrong, because they're extremists themselves. They see any form of nationalism as extremist. That's where they get it wrong. That's why they're calling patriots with flags fascists and Nazis, because they don't understand those terms. They've got no clue what those terms are. Steve, I forget the channel, but say the name of the channel in the chat that deals with how, the Austrian painter with one ball was a socialist. Yeah, it's a really good channel. I've watched it for years, and he does some really good content on how the the full name of the Nazis is the National Socialist German Workers' Party. That's the one, Steve. Thank you, mate. That's the one. Go watch that channel. If you are any doubts that the Nazis were basically socialists and communists. Go and watch that, because he gives you all the information you need. He's well read on the whole topic of the Austrian painter with one ball. He's well versed on him. He understands him. He knows the ins and outs of it, and he does a whole host of videos of fascism, communism, Nazism, and he explains it to you. And this old perception that the communists have that Nazism is a right-wing ideology is all wrong, completely wrong. DJ Media, they dragged a guy who was protecting a woman later and arrested him. Right, okay. Oh God, yeah. Of course he did. A lot of people are political enemies. Political enemies. Factory owners who wouldn't submit their factories to his fascist. Well, he's not actually fascist. That's something that I didn't realize until I started doing research on this a few years ago. I used to think that Nazism and fascism was the same thing. It's completely different ideology. Completely different ideology. The Nazis weren't fascists. They were National Socialists. It's really interesting. You need to go and watch that channel. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. TK History. What's the difference between nationalist and if no nationalist? I don't understand what you mean there, Jack. Yeah, exactly, which is ironic, really, isn't it? And he brings this up in one of his videos. TK History brings it up in one of his videos where he said, it's ironic that the people standing there with their trade union signs are calling people fascists when the matter of fact is that the fascists were trade unionists. It does give a whole new meaning when you actually look into these ideologies and their origins, and it completely changes your perspective of them. Yeah, they're all shit ideologies. I'm not trying to defend any of them. Nazism, fascism, communism, they're all shit ideologies. And ultimately they all fail because they're all built and based on socialism. That's why they fail. They're not good. They all lead to totalitarian dictatorships. But when you actually look into them, you start to understand a lot more about them. And it's not just what they've been portrayed as well. Right, okay, Jack, right, I'll get it, right, okay, right, so I understand what you mean. You keep calling those, right, for the record, Jack, the BNP no longer exists, doesn't exist. Right, let's go back up here. So I'm having to read it off the comments rather than what's on the screen because it's too small. You keep calling the BNP and Page Alternative ethno nationalist. What does that mean? Ethno nationalist. I think Steve just explained it to you, hasn't he? There you go. There you go. That's what it means. No, I would say they're probably all equal as each other. They all lead to the actual destruction of your country. Who supports them? Whether you're communist, you're fascist, or you're a national socialist, they all lead to the destruction of your country and deaths of millions of people. The reason, I mean, and I learned this through the channel as well. This is what I mean. I've done research over years with this channel, with his work and stuff like that. The reason Hitler actually went to war in the first place, and went to war with Poland, was because he needed resources, because the socialism that he had actually implemented had basically bankrupted the country. They'd run out of resources, which is what socialism always does. You always run out of resources. So this forced the Austrian painter with one ball to go to war because he needed more resources, because his socialism was absolutely destroying the country. So the reason that the Second World War started was due to socialism, National Socialism. Yeah, he explained this. This is how he explained. This is how TK History explained it, right? He said that there's no difference between National Socialism and the communism in Soviet Russia. The only difference between them is that the Austrian painter implemented a racial element to the socialism. And he said in one of his videos, you have to think, when you think of National Socialists, you have to think of them as extremely racist communists. That's what he said. So when you see Antifa and, you know, going at it and start and chanting all their stupid chants like Nazis come off our streets, they're not doing it because of moral reasons. They're doing it because it's like two different denominations of a religion fighting over which is the right ideology. It's got nothing to do with morality. They, you know, the Soviets and the National Socialists both have the similar methods of how they would run a country. They just argue about whose ideology is best. It's got nothing to do with morality at all. Nothing at all. It's totally down to whose ideology is best. Yeah, exactly. Right, guys, I've been going on for long enough. I'm going to call this to an end. Thanks for all coming along. Thank you for listening to the live stream. Just wanted to do this. I just wanted to like have a chat to you guys and, you know, get in touch and just, you know, have a general chat. So yeah, thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. And I shall see you all in the next video. Don't forget, there might not be a morning walk video tomorrow. It's going to be from later on in the day, and it's going to be from Chesterfield Town Centre when I do it. So watch out for that one tomorrow. It's going to be a bit of a different content tomorrow. So I shall see you all soon. And this is Vindicator signing off.